Hey, comic fans, Ravi Reddy here from Zanzi Comic Club. Fantastic weekend. I finally got some time away from the family to go watch the Flash movie. Really enjoyed it. I'd have to say it's probably one of the best DCEU films. I'm going to say DCEU because this is part of the former rendition. As we know, with James Gunn's involvement, now that they've rebranded it as the DC Universe, with the new management at Warner Brothers as well. They're clearly heading in a brand new direction. They've just recasted the new Superman and Lois. David Corenswet is a new Superman. I'll be talking about him in another video. But interesting times. I must say, I had my doubts about this Flash movie, and it was actually a well done movie. It really was fantastically done. Ezra Miller did a brilliant job. I had my doubts about him as well. We've heard the stories, we've heard the rumors. Well, not rumors; these are actual events of his trespassing and his just general misconduct. But he did a fantastic job as the Flash. Absolutely. Uh, you know, the I'd say let me start with the negative. So for me, one of the biggest challenges was, or eyesores, I should say, was the CGI that was used during the film. Especially when he was going back in time, when he was looking at the different worlds out there, the different spheres. The CGI that was used was questionable at times. The opening scene is where he saved those babies falling from the top of the hospital. Uh, yeah, not a very good CGI, not a very good example thereof. But another negative is that I would have said they spent a lot of time dedicated to the Supergirl versus Zod storyline. I think Zod was a very good villain to have. It was a very good event to focus on, and it shows sort of the connected environment. But I think too much time was spent on there. They could have used that time to sort of form a de facto Justice League. You kind of had the 1989 Batman, Michael Keaton, paired up with the two Flashes as well as Supergirl. So, you know what I would like to have seen is maybe some more face time from Arthur Curry's Aquaman, especially considering that there's another movie coming out. Maybe the Martian Manhunter finally could have got a bit of spotlight. He was alluded to in the Zack Snyder's recut of the Justice League. Not alluded to, he actually showed up at the end of the after credits there, coming to Bruce Wayne's house for some odd reason. But he exists, nevertheless. So I think they could have used a lot more resources and time. Maybe involve the Justice Society. Maybe give Gal Gadot one more shot as Wonder Woman and just say hasta la vista, Gal Gadot. I hate that soundtrack. I hate that tune. Anyways, that's just me. Uh, yeah. Other negatives. I would say casting choices as well. I then personally, I like the brutal look of Supergirl. She's a very angry, very brutal Kryptonian, which is great. But I would have liked to have seen a known individual cast in that role. Somebody that's a little bit well known, maybe like a Zoe Deschanel or it's anybody. I think it is certainly called for somebody that was actually known in the industry. Um, yeah, but anyways, I think the other thing was I'd have loved to have also seen Reverse Flash. I know we've seen enough iterations of the Flash villains in the TV series with Grant Gustin, but I think the Flash should have been tackling head on the Reverse Flash. And we know that the Reverse Flash is the guy that killed his mother, Eobard Thawne. And I wish they would have focused a little bit more on that. I'm looking a bit uncomfortable, a little bit overdressed, folks, because it is snowing here in Johannesburg at the moment. Anyways, the positives: Michael Keaton, by far, brilliant, brilliant as always. I had no doubts in my mind when he was cast in the sort of the mentoring role or to reprise the role as Batman. I knew you'll hit it for a six, and he certainly did. Um, he had like that Big Lebowski type of vibe in the movie. I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but what is good is to see a Batman that says, you know what, I actually did enough. I did my time. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. I don't have to uh, save the city all the time because the city actually was saved. He said that Gotham ended up being the safest city in the States, so which is fantastic. Another positive, I would say, was the connected storyline was good. You know, what is frustrating about watching comic book movies is that you see a lot of these superheroes tackle a villain head on without any assistance whatsoever. We've seen it happen in the Marvel universe. We've certainly seen it in the DC universe. Good example, Wonder Woman 1987. Um, Sorry, is it 84? Wonder Woman 84. I always say 87. Wonder Woman 84. Another good example is Shazam Fury of the Gods. Where are the other Justice League people? I mean, I understand 84, there wasn't a Justice League to begin with, fair enough. Bruce Wayne was a kid that time, so it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't exist. Superman, I don't think he even touched down on Earth that time. He probably was one at best. But at least in Wonder Woman, he could have had the Justice Society. We knew they existed. Well, we knew that there were other entities on Earth that could have assisted her, during the downfall. But anyway, so I would say that what is great was the opening scene. You got to see an action-packed scene of Bruce Wayne in a brand new suit. That's another positive there. Brand new Batman suit, blue and gray. I have a feeling that that's the suit we're going to see in The Brave and the Bold, possibly. And I think there's a remote possibility you'll see uh, Ben Affleck reprise his role in that situation. But the Brave and the Bold is going to be a very interesting one. I think they'll definitely, it's likely they'll recast it all together. I will definitely snuff out the fact that good George Clooney is going to have any further involvement in the Batman enterprise. I think it was just there as a coincidence, just as a fluke. I think it was just a like sort of a light-hearted way to close the DCEU and start the DCU. And the start of the DCU will kick off officially, I think, with the Brave and the Bold or the Superman Legacy project. I think either of those projects have the potential of yielding a better set or crop of movies. I think the further away they move away from the Snyderverse, the better. The thing is that this movie was so good that I think there's a high probability they're going to make a sequel. One of the higher grossing DCEU films is no doubt in my mind that we might see Ezra Miller back as the Flash. Personally, I don't want to see him as the Flash again. I think it does call for newer blood, newer storylines as well, and a better version of the Justice League than what we've seen. I think they put a lot of pressure on having this connected enterprise or this connected universe that some of the stories just fell flat. And I think this was a very good start, and it's a pity it's like the last in the DCEU arc. But I personally would have liked to have seen more effort in showing that the universe is actually changed or it's amended itself. And I think the only real example we've seen, other than Barry's father being freed from prison, because as we know from the start of the Justice League or the DCEU, we knew that he was in prison for a substantial amount of time for the alleged murder of Barry's mother. And the other element, of course, and the most obvious one, is George Clooney coming out as Bruce Wayne. And we haven't seen him in that role in 25 years. Side note, I felt that he was personally dogged because I thought he was a brilliant casting as Batman. They have said it. And I say Batman, but I actually mean Bruce Wayne because George Clooney epitomizes the rich, the aristocratic look that Bruce Wayne in the comic books generally displayed. And it's just a pity because he got paired up with Joel Schumacher's Batman. I think it would have been interesting if he was cast in a different connected enterprise, different connected universe with the DCEU. I think he would have yielded better results. I just can't get over the nipple suit, man. I just can't shake it off. Joel Schumacher did a lot of damage. Rest in peace. He's a brilliant director, but his time as the Batman director was just something that overshadowed a lot of his good work that he's released. But George Clooney, great Bruce Wayne. I've got no issues with him coming back, but I don't see him being a long-term factor in the new DCU. I look forward to seeing the next few projects. So, earmarked projects, the ones that I'm certainly looking forward to, is certainly Superman Legacy with David Corenswet as Superman, and of course, the Batman, the Brave and the Bold with Damian Drake starring as Robin, or being this version of a Robin. And that yields to a number of other subplots and storylines, which means that there's a Bat family. It's likely that Dick Grayson and Jason Todd exist in this universe as well as Tim Drake. So is a high probability you're going to see a Bat family, you're going to see a Batgirl finally. We know with Discovery's acquisition of Warner Brothers that one of the first acts that they committed to was shelving the Batgirl project, which I think was a very good thing. Yeah, it really was. I think the only downside of it was I would have loved to have seen the Brendan Fraser's portrayal of one of the villainous characters in that movie, as well as Michael Keaton's Batman. That would have been the first project where Batman would have reprised his role, or rather Michael Keaton would have reprised his role as Batman, playing a mentorship role. In saying that though, I think there's huge potential for future Batman projects. But I think it's time we move a little bit away from Bruce Wayne. We know the story. We know he's been orphaned as a young kid. Thomas and Martha Wayne both getting gunned down in the alleyway outside the theater. I think it's time we move away from that and focus on Batman of the future, Batman Beyond. I think we need to get there. How are we going to get there? What it's going to look like? I don't know. But I see that happening in the DCU more so than the former DCEU. I think James Gunn's got some great plans ahead, and we shall see. Maybe, just maybe, we might see that dude from The Walking Dead as Thomas Wayne. I'm just saying, it was right there. He should have been there. But anyways, enough controversy for one day. What do you guys think? Sound off your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Cheers. Bye.